Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I know a lot of you guys are considering becoming an expat, and I thought we'd have a chat about some of the qualities, the attributes that it's advisable to have if you become an expat so that you can live here with a pleasant, nice, beautiful life. So we're going to have that chat and we'll go through a few things. Just to tell you where we are, we're on Beach Road, and this is a couple of weeks ago that had a market there. So we'll just have a walk down the Beach Road market while we have a chat. Now, a lot of you guys are considering leaving your country and coming to live in Thailand. Now, what is it that's changed in recent years that's made so many of you guys want to leave your own country? Now, from chatting to many of you, I realize that many of you guys are having great difficulty after divorce to find a suitable female companion. Some guys say it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. It seems that a lot of the reason for this is Western feminism. Yeah. Now, the other major problem in the West at the moment is the cost of living and inflation, from what I understand. The cost of taking a girl out to a nice restaurant is prohibitive, especially after you've had to pay all the utility bills and taxes and everything, what it costs to live in the West, the cost of accommodation, the cost of running a car. There are just so many costs to live a normal life in the West that many guys simply can't afford to take a girl out. And this is a very frustrating situation. So a lot of guys are starting to look around different parts of the world to see where they can get value for money, especially as they get older and have some investments and some way of having money come in without working, for say for a pension or something like that. So you don't have to stay in your own country to make money. Now, this gives you freedom to move anywhere. Southeast Asia is the obvious choice, whether it's Thailand, Cambodia, Philippines, Vietnam, whatever. It's a lot cheaper to live here in this area than it is in the West. And the bonus on top of that is the fact that there's a huge availability of female company, and much younger than you could possibly consider in your own country. As far as I'm concerned, I've been living in Thailand for 15 years now, and I think without a doubt, to move here was the single best decision I ever made in my life. That's the truth, that's from the heart, okay? It rejuvenated my life. My life became an adventure. Now, when I think about it, I don't know what adventure really felt like before I came to Thailand, you know? You don't get much adventure in England. Now, as far as female company was concerned, the variety and the quality was amazing. You know, it's a shock when you first get here. I mean, as an older guy, to hang out with younger company, that was really, to be honest, out of my league, was extraordinary. Now, having said that, the type of person who can move abroad and leave everything that you know and are familiar with, leave your comfort zone and all that, and move to a completely different country with a completely different culture, is not for people who are not adventurous. It is not for the fearful or the timid. It is for people who love a challenge and that are resourceful. So if you're not that type of person, then really you should not be trying to move abroad where you leave behind your family and friends and a caring network, which you're used to, leave that behind you. You will be alone, and you have to take care of yourself. It's important that it doesn't scare you and you're happy to take on this challenge. You have to be very adaptable. I mean, I know times when I've wanted to do some particular arrangement or whatever, and then it got totally screwed up. Here in Pattaya we're talking about. So then you adapt and you change, you do something different, and then that gets screwed up. And then you adapt and you do something different. But you have to be able to think on your feet and be adaptable. Because in Pattaya, plans never or very rarely work out. Something always manages to screw them up. Really, that's happened again and again and again. And I'm sure it's happened to you guys too. Now, regarding adaptability, you absolutely have to be able to adapt to a whole different culture and a way of thinking. So that being in a different culture is exciting and fun and stimulating, which is the way I've always looked at it. But you do come across some expats sometime who complain all the time about how Thais do things and it's not efficient or whatever, and they wind themselves up. Now, this is the wrong mindset. You're going to a different country and a different culture, and you're expecting that country's culture to adapt to you. That's completely back to front. You have to do the adapting. You have to do the adapting. Now, adapting takes time, and you're going to need resilience and perseverance to get through the time period it will take to adapt and change your mindset completely to suit your new environment. You can't just change it overnight, your mindset. It takes time. Now, you'll find things frustrating. You'll find, for example, the unnecessary paperwork and duplication and triplication of paperwork you find in Thailand, particularly, say, in places like immigration. Yeah? But that's the way Thais do it. They love their paperwork. You just have to chill out and accept this is the way it's done here. It's no good getting all wound up and angry and raising your voice. Which brings me on to something you need to learn about Thai culture. In Thailand, it's a publicly polite society. And that's why you people whine all the time. You see all this whining and everything. It's polite, publicly polite. And it's considered very, very bad manners to raise your voice in anger. In fact, if you started to do that, for example, at immigration, because you were getting frustrated with all this duplication and God knows what, they would simply just kick you out. and they might even mess with your visa. You know, you've got to be very careful. You have to adapt. Now, as well as adaptability and resilience, the other quality which would be useful is problem solving. Not to panic when things go wrong, which they will, but to think it through and solve the problem yourself. This is a valuable, useful quality and attribute which it would be good if you happen to have it. And when living in a foreign country, it's very, very useful. Now, another attribute which would be the ability to follow a budget. You need to work out a budget and follow it. Very briefly, the minimum you will need, in my opinion, to live here on a modest life, modest, is $1,500 US dollars a month. And that's absolute rock bottom minimum, in my opinion. That would give you some nights out now and then, a little bit of company, pay for your utilities and rent and all the rest of it, and food and things like that, but not much more. So if you, for example, come across the love of your life saying to you, "Oh, I've never been to Koh Chang before. I'd love to hire a car and go there for a few days and stay in a nice hotel, maybe go on a boat ride to the other islands and things like that." And then she says, "Will you take me?" Well, you look at your budget and you think, "No, I haven't got the money." And you have to be straight with it. You cannot say, "Oh, yes, yes, yes," and dig into your savings. No, we can't do that, right? You've got to be serious about your budget. Now, if you're actually seriously thinking of coming to live here in Pattaya as a permanent expat, then take a good look at yourself and make sure that you have the resilience, the adaptability to think on your feet when problems arise, the self-discipline to control yourself in stressful situations and walk away when it's required, and learn to say no. Now, one of the great weaknesses of men in general is that they need to become the savior, or the white knight, if you like, put it that way. And Thai girls are well aware that if they put on a little girl act with a soft-hearted guy, they can get what they want, which is usually money, with very little effort. Just a sob story and maybe a couple of tears is all they need with some guys. Now, they can try this even if they hardly know the guy and have never actually been intimate with him. I know one guy, he told me, he met a girl in a bar and chatted in the evening and took her line, like app, for contact, but didn't take the girl. He was too drunk, he thought he'd leave it for another night. And then the next day, she contacted him and chatted and said, oh, she was off work. And they talked online, and she said she was off work because following the whole of the next week, her daughter was coming to stay for a week. Our daughter's only 5 years old, and the problem is she didn't have any money to take her daughter anywhere, and asked him if he could help to make the daughter's stay enjoyable, if he was a good-hearted man. And then a week later, when the daughter's gone home, the girl will then come stay with him as a thank you. And the question is, what would you do in that situation? Would you believe the girl and say, okay, I'll lend you 2,000 or 3,000 baht to take care of your daughter? Or would you walk away? Then you would never know. Now, what my friend did actually was quite clever. He sent a picture of the beautiful big swimming pool at his condo, and he said, bring your daughter here for the afternoon. She'll have a great time, and you can play with her as well in the pool. And also there's a bar, and have Thai food, and it would be really nice for your daughter to come. A clever answer, as I said, I think, really. If you think about it, if she has got a daughter staying, she would love that, you know? Or is it a lie and she's gone off with some Falang for a week? Which is the truth? So anyway, the answer he got was, oh, my daughter catches cold very easily, so I don't let her go swimming. What does that tell you? In my opinion, it tells you that you are getting played. And if you're one of the sort of soft-hearted types, which I've mentioned before, you'll get ripped off. Or maybe I'm being unfair, and she really does have a daughter staying, and she's not gone off with a Falang. And she won't allow her daughter to go swimming. Yeah, sure. Point I'm making, really, is If you come here, these things happen. Be prepared for these types of shenanigans. Yeah, from these girls. Don't be a soft-hearted white knight. When you come to live here, you need to take your time finding a female companion. Take your time and avoid the girls who play these silly games. It takes time to find out if your new friend is genuine. It takes time to build trust, and it's slow. And this advice also applies to any expats you may come across who wants to befriend you. So when you come here to live as an expat, you need to adapt and to learn. Anyway, guys, I hope that little bit of advice was helpful. It's a whole new world here. It really is. And you do need to learn. Anyway, lastly, as I said before, have a look at Patreon. Just click below and have a look at Instagram first. It's free. Have a look at the Instagram clips, and then you can have a look at Patreon if you want to. And also, please subscribe, like, share, ring the bell, and thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next video.